I'm Clark Green with the Elite Angler Academy here at the MLF Pro Circuit event. This is after day one of the tournament. It went about kind of what I expected, how my game plan came together. I talked about it on the morning video, and I ended up having 11-3 with a limit with no big fish. I had one 3-pounder and the rest were kind of cookie cutter fish. Just never had a big bite. I had one fish on a jerkbait that pulled off that might have been, a helping fish. But I had a few fish that, could have given me some more ounces that I had found, some fry garters, a couple of fish on beds. But at the same time, I sat on one fish for a while on a bed and I'm like, what am I doing? This is the end game, is this fish right here, which is going to give me half-pound coal, which, right now it sounds good because it would move me up quite a bit. But at the same time, it's day one, you're at Lake EUFAULA, you need bigger bites. But ultimately, they didn't catch them today. And so, those few more ounces would have been handy, but those fish will be there tomorrow. And that's the good thing about it, about those shallow fish I've got found. When I pulled up to the first spot this morning, I thought I had seen a 3-pounder there in practice around this dock, a little grass clump. I threw a yellow magic up there, and like the third throw, fish blew up on it, and it ended up being an emaciated looking 3-pounder that weighed, 2 1/4. Caught another fish on the yellow magic, just fishing around. That was a keeper real quick. And put it around, throwing the popper, trying to get, a fish off of the water willow. But, the water dropped and some of those fish had pulled out. I had this stretch where I had seen a lot of fish cruising the last day of practice when I went looking. And, I ended up throwing a swim jig for a while, caught one on a swim jig that kept, I was able to cover more water while I was looking, because I knew I could come back if I saw those fish in the water willow and catch those fish later on. Spent a good part of the morning, throwing the yellow magic around cypress trees and, isolated clumps of water willow, just fishing at that point. All new water. Took the approach that the first day of practice, or the first day of the tournament, is basically day 3 of practice, since we only get 2 days now. And at some point, I ended up making it all the way down to the dam. Caught a 3-pounder down there and another 2 to finish out a limit, on a jerkbait. And, I talked to a few people on the water. And sometimes, you know who you can trust, who you can't trust. And, you start realizing it's tough today. I talked to my cousin, Chad Warren. He fishes on tour. He had a 5-pounder and 3 small ones to go with it. And he was still grinding on an offshore deal. But I had talked to a handful of guys that were fishing offshore, and they were struggling to catch keepers. And so at this point, I've got a limit, so it gave me the flexibility to do some other things. Found a few more fry garters, some fish cruising. I've got them marked for tomorrow if I need them. But at the same time, I ended up catching enough fish, jerking, that I think I can go do that all day tomorrow and have a shot at catching, a good fish or a decent bag to move me up. My roommate, Matt Reed, had 3 fish for, I don't know what he ended up having, but he had a 5-pounder, which, kicked his bag up also, caught it doing the same sort of program that we were looking at doing. And, it just came down to, I had 11-3 without a big bite. And that currently has me in 58th, right on the check cut line for $10,000. I think if I can go catch 11 tomorrow, that's going to put me where I need to be to get paid. But at the same time, I don't want to just get paid. I want to make the cut. I want to, get points that you can't make up. I've got a hole to climb out of from South Carolina when my boat broke down. And, I just need to capitalize. And, I lost one fish today on a jerkbait that pulled off. It felt good, but you never know. I'm throwing a Dobbins 704 CB, and that rod's got a lot of give to it, and it loads up. And so a lot of times they'll feel bigger than they actually are. And so I'm just, trying to cover water. So tomorrow, the game plan might be, hey, just go cover as much water as you can. I've got a few of those fish found for sight fishing, or that were fry guarding and stuff like that. I might be able to catch pretty easily, but I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time on it. Whenever you spend a lot of time in the clear water seeing or not seeing fish, you realize real quick, hey, there's a lot of wasted casts frogging or swim jigging or whatever else, and they're physically not there to be caught. So at the same time, you just have to put yourself in as many high percentage situations to try and get bites, especially as the tournament's tough. First thing in the morning, I may put on an old Vixen and you know, throw it around points and stuff, just trying to get a big bite, because again, that's what I'm lacking. I think I can catch a limit based on what I've seen so far, but I need a big bite to try and do something in this event, you know. So that is the MLF Pro Circuit recap of day 1 here at Lake Eufaula, Alabama. Clark Green with the Elite Angler Academy. Stay tuned. I'll, you know, probably have some epiphanies tonight and try and figure some things out. Talk to a couple of my buddies fishing on tour, and maybe that game plan will change that I've just laid out, and I'll put up another video in the morning.